especially among the young people. They were also unhappy about the high taxes charged by the colonial government. Africans were also unhappy about the shortage of education opportunities. Role played by Kwame Nkrumah in struggle for independence in the Gold Coast. Nkrumah participated in the Manchester Pan-African Congress of 1945 in England, where African nationalists agreed to go back to their countries and lead the struggle for liberation. In 1946, Nkrumah returned to Gold Coast and became the Secretary General of the United Gold Coast Convention, that is the UGCC. In 1949, Nkrumah founded the Convention People's Party. Nkrumah united farmers, the elite, students, and businessmen in the struggle against the British in the Gold Coast. Nkrumah and the CPP used positive action, which involved non-violent strikes and political meetings against the British. In 1951, CPP and Nkrumah won the elections and formed the first African government before independence. In 1957, Nkrumah led the Gold Coast to independence. Ways in which Nkrumah inspired other African countries to acquire political independence. He convened two Pan-African conferences in Ghana in 1958 to inspire other African countries to unite against colonial oppression. He encouraged liberation movements all over Africa with material support and ideas. He went to the aid of Patrice Lumumba, who was having problems with Belgians in the Congo. He was a fervent supporter of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. 3A. Ways in which Portugal benefited from Mozambique prior to 1900. The Portuguese acquired mineral resources such as gold from Mozambique. The Portugal forced Africans to pay taxes. The Portuguese got cotton and other cash crops from Mozambique. Portugal enjoyed a status of prestige due to ownership of colonies in Africa. B. African grievances in Mozambique that gave rise to nationalism against the Portuguese. The Portuguese alienated land from the African communities. Africans were forced to pay taxes. Portuguese settlers took African women and turned them into mistresses against the African customs. Africans were forced to provide labor to the Portuguese. The Portuguese discriminated against the Africans. Africans were treated with cruelty and denied freedom of expression. Factors that enabled the liberation movement in Mozambique to win the war. The Liberation Front of Mozambique, that is Frelimo, attacked the Portuguese from different points at random, and this forced Portugal to post small groups of troops all over the country. Many Africans volunteered to fight against Portugal. The heavily forested regions such as Nissa, Cabo Delgado, and Tite were ideal for guerrilla warfare. Africans were familiar with the geography of their territory and took advantage of this during the war. Frelimo was friendly to Africans and thus earned their support. Communist countries such as Soviet Union, Slovakia, and China gave the nationalists financial and logistical support. The Organization for African Unity marshaled support for the Frelimo through the OAU Liberation Committee. African women were recognized in the war and they mobilized fellow Africans to fight the Portuguese. Use of the Portuguese language helped the nationalists to communicate effectively. Frelimo worked closely with the African National Congress of South Africa and the Liberation Movement in South Africa, Rhodesia. Political challenges experienced in the liberation movement in Mozambique. During the nationalist war, Africans suffered lack of basic necessities such as food, clothes, soap, due to the embargo placed by the Portuguese. The church in Mozambique supported the Portuguese and viewed Frelimo as a terrorist organization. Ideological differences divided African nationalists, whereas some advocated socialism, others supported capitalism. Frelimo competed for power with other guerrilla movements such as Revolutionary Committee of Mozambique, Corelemo, and assassination of Frelimo leader Eduardo Moulin in 1969 was a serious setback to the movement. The apartheid regime of South Africa and the UDI regime of Southern Rhodesia fought African nationalists. Three types of nationalism in South Africa in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. We have the Afrikaner nationalism, British nationalism, African nationalism. Factors that gave rise to African nationalism in South Africa. Christianity inspired African nationalism as it emphasized the equality of all peoples. The grabbing of African land by the Afrikaners also provoked African nationalism. The Pan-African ideas of Webb, Du Bois, and other African Americans inspired nationalism. The exploitation of African laborers, especially in the mines, provoked them to start agitating for self-determination. The apartheid policy, which emphasized racial discrimination, also made Africans to unite and begin nationalist activities. The expansion of urbanization in South Africa enabled the expression of urbanization in South Africa enabled Africans to interact and fight against the repression. The World War II African veterans came back from the war with more self-confidence and determination to fight for their rights. African elites such as Walter Sisulu and Nelson Mandela led fellow Africans in demanding for political rights.